Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into a massive, rapidly expanding wealth creation opportunity exporting from India in 2026. If you've ever looked at the global supply chain and thought, hey, how can I carve out my own highly profitable piece of that pie? Well, you are in exactly the right place.
But, before we get into all those massive wins, let's ground ourselves for a second. The author of our source material shared a pretty stark reality check. They said, over 20 years ago, I shipped my first container of spices from Mumbai to Dubai, and I actually lost money on that initial deal because I didn't understand the real mechanics. Yeah, ouch. The paperwork literally felt like a mountain, bank delays were super frustrating, and honestly, the execution just wasn't there. Most new exporters fail simply because they treat global trade like a casual buy low, sell high side hustle rather than the structured, professional operation it really needs to be.
Okay, let's dive into this. That brings us to the million-dollar question. How do you actually turn Indian exports into a wealth creation vehicle in 2026? How do you avoid those brutal traps that completely sink the amateurs and instead build a scalable empire? Well, we need to completely reframe the export process. Think of it as a high-stakes strategic game, where absolute precision is your ultimate advantage.
To get you there, we're going to walk through a comprehensive executive blueprint, step by step. We'll be looking at the 2026 export opportunity, building your legal foundation, mastering trade documentation, navigating global logistics, securing payments and risk, and finally, avoiding traps and scaling. So kicking things off with Part 1, the 2026 export opportunity. India is truly acting as a global powerhouse right now for supply chains, especially for goods like rice, marine products, and petroleum derivatives. Moving right along to Part 2, building your legal foundation. Because look, before you even think about booking a single shipping container, you need a flawless legal foundation to avoid devastating compliance bottlenecks down the road. Your choice of corporate structure really dictates everything here. If you go with a sole proprietorship, sure, it's fast, it's cheap, kind of your true entry-level vehicle. But it offers zero liability protection, meaning your personal assets are completely exposed, and raising institutional capital is incredibly hard. Now compare that to a private limited company. This right here is the gold standard for global trade. It instantly signals international trust to global buyers and sovereign funds. Plus, it gives you high financial leverage, which makes it significantly easier to secure things like letter of credit limits and premium banking facilities.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is that regardless of your corporate structure, you absolutely cannot bypass the mandatory four-step process for securing your Import-Export Code, or IEC. This is non-negotiable. Step 1, gather your digital prerequisites like your PAN and bank details. Step 2, create your account on the DGFT portal. Step 3, execute the digital ANF2A application form perfectly. And when dealing with government portals, believe me, perfectly is the key word. Finally, Step 4, upload your documents and pay the nominal 500 rupee fee. Without this 10-digit master key, Indian customs will literally block your shipments at the port, and your bank will refuse your foreign remittances. It's the ultimate gatekeeper.
All right, Part 3, mastering trade documentation. The entire global shipping apparatus runs on absolute bureaucratic precision, and honestly, this is where most deals completely fall apart.
Let's quickly demystify these essential trade documents. First up, your commercial invoice. This is your primary billing document, absolutely crucial for customs valuation. A single typo here that can hold up your container for weeks. Second is the packing list, which gives a detailed cargo breakdown, specifying the exact contents and weights. Third, the bill of lading. This acts as your official proof of shipment and acknowledges receipt of the cargo. And finally, integrating container tracking provides real-time logistics monitoring, which pretty much eliminates port uncertainty. You've got to remember, minor clerical errors across any of these documents cause compounding port storage charges. Those can easily wipe out your entire profit margin.
And perhaps the single most vital piece of data on those documents is your HS code. Every single product in international commerce is classified using the harmonized system. You have got to identify your exact 8-digit Indian HS code. Getting this wrong, it means severe duty miscalculations, immediate customs holdups, and massive compliance penalties. Basically, a wrong tariff classification brings your whole operation to a grinding halt.
Next up is Part 4, navigating global logistics. Because a single day's delay at JNPT or Mundra Port can literally wipe out your entire profit margin in demurrage fees.
The absolute foundational logistics milestone you have to negotiate is your Incoterms. Basically, these are international commercial terms that define exactly where the seller's responsibility ends and the buyer's liability begins. It's all about perfectly balancing operational risk with supply chain control.
For most Indian exporters, this choice really boils down to FOB versus CIF. With free on board, or FOB, the buyer pays the main freight, and your risk transfers the moment the goods are loaded at the Indian port. This is fantastic for beginners who want to avoid complex ocean freight rates. On the flip side, with cost, insurance, and freight, or CIF, you, the seller, pay the freight and the risk transfers at the destination. Experienced exporters absolutely love CIF because it lets them control shipping lines and squeeze a little extra profit out of those freight margins.
But, logistics isn't just about shipping lines. It's about the harsh physical reality of the ocean. Take rice exports from India, for example. Rice is highly hygroscopic, meaning it rapidly absorbs moisture. If you don't use specialized heavy-duty PP woven bags and desiccant strips, the extreme temperature shifts during weeks at sea will literally cause condensation to rain down inside the steel container. You'll end up with massive mold outbreaks and a catastrophic cargo rejection upon arrival. Your packaging has to be specifically engineered for the journey.
Which brings us to Part 5, Securing Payments and Risk. Because moving goods across oceans before securing your financial downside is the fastest way to kill a growing business.
International trade operates on incredibly stretched cash flow cycles. Just think about it, from sourcing materials on day one, to local transit, to the actual sea voyage, and then final clearing at the destination. Your capital can easily be locked up for 45 to 90 days. Amateur exporters routinely trap 100% of their cash in a single shipment. That means their business completely stalls while they wait months for those funds to clear. So how do you protect that exposed cash flow from, say, unexpected buyer bankruptcies or sudden political turmoil? Well, serious operators secure credit insurance policies through the Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India, or ECGC. This covers 80 to 90% of your financial loss if an overseas buyer defaults. It's a real game changer. It allows you to actually sleep at night and scale into new global markets with total peace of mind.
And hey, when that payment finally does arrive in India, your job still isn't done. Under Reserve Bank of India guidelines, every single dollar or euro must be legally accounted for. You have to work with your bank to secure an electronic foreign inward remittance certificate, or EFIRC. This legally proves your export proceeds to the authorities, and crucially, it's what unlocks your vital government export benefits and GST refunds.
Finally, we arrive at Part 6, Avoiding Traps and Scaling. The global trade arena is highly rewarding, sure, but it is totally unforgiving to structural, operational blind spots.
Let's rapidly fire through the 5 common pitfalls that tend to bankrupt new exporters. 1. Underestimating working capital cycles and completely freezing your cash. 2. Lax quality control protocols, like relying on a manufacturer's word instead of independent third-party inspections. 3. Ignoring changing regulatory compliance at the destination port. 4. Flawed trade documentation causing massive demurrage. And 5. Single market reliance, basically putting all your eggs in one geographical basket. So, the crucial point is this. You cannot survive on luck here. You absolutely need systemic, repeatable operations to insulate yourself from these fatal errors.
The absolute best way to achieve that systemic perfection is by turning your logistics into a predictable machine. The source material highly recommends using a comprehensive global trade operating system like Platform10defy.net. By integrating AI-powered market intelligence, document builders, and compliance tools into a single command center, you completely transform your operations. You take it from a chaotic side hustle and turn it into a highly controlled, deeply scalable enterprise.
Exporting from India in 2026 is all about building systems, maintaining resilience, and executing with absolute precision. We've covered the framework today, from legal foundations all the way to risk management. The knowledge is officially in your hands. The global market is out there waiting. Are you ready to execute this blueprint, secure your IEC, and build your export empire? Go build something valuable.